So I'm going to walk you through one simple technique I use to make the hard work much easier. As I'm sure you guys already know, we're creatures of habit. And one thing that I picked up from a book I was reading, you might have heard of it. It's a pretty popular one. It's called Atomic Habits. There's tons of techniques in that book on how to, form better habits, how to kill bad habits. And one thing that I took from it that really helped me with my morning routine was habit stacking. So there's 4 things that I try to get done every single morning, at least during the week. And that's to pray, read my Bible, read some kind of business book, depending on what I'm working on, and work out, go to the gym. And obviously listening to that book and finding for myself through executing the strategies that it had in there, one thing that really helped was allowing each task, allowing each thing to kind of flow into the next. One thing that really interested me in the book was when it talked about triggers. So I wanted to form different triggers that allowed the next task, which being whether it was reading, praying, working out, it allowed that next task to just be my natural automatic response. Sometimes when your mind kind of drifts off and you kind of go into autopilot and you just start doing things. I wanted first thing in the morning, one of those 4 things to be the thing that I automatically did when my mind drifted off. So the 3 things I used to do that was music, location, and taste. Because I realized that my environment heavily affected my mood, my feelings, my motivations, what I felt like doing. Also eating certain foods or drinking certain drinks can be heavy influencers. And then music. Everyone knows that music is something powerful to elicit different kinds of emotions. So what I started doing was first thing in the morning, as soon as I got out of bed, I would grab my phone and the first thing I would do is put on worship music. At first, it's just something you're doing, but when you start to pair it up over and over and over again over weeks, that's when it starts to become the automatic response, is that next step after you've initiated the trigger. So for me, it was a lot easier to open up the Bible and read and pray when I had worship music playing as the first thing in my ear. That was the trigger for that next action. And while I was listening to the worship music, I would be getting out my Bible and I would be making a energy drink. I'd be making pre-workout, pretty much throwing some creatine in there for the gym that I was going to do later. I would take my energy drink and then I would come and sit literally in this exact same spot, open up my Bible, put it down there, pray, and then start to read the Bible. The trigger to pray was listening to the music. The trigger to read the Bible was actually sitting in this exact seat. And once I was reading, I would turn off the worship music because obviously there's just too much words going on. There's the singing and then there's the actual words I'm trying to read. And I would switch the music to like a classical jazz playlist that I have on my phone. I remember years ago, I read some study about how jazz music helps with focus. And honestly, for me personally, at least for my trial and error, I find it way easier to focus, way easier to work when I'm playing jazz music. And I spent a few weeks turning that into a trigger of focus time, because what I would do is whenever I'm doing deep work, whenever I'm focusing on the computer, typing away, or just doing anything that requires focus, I would always play jazz music in the background to the point where I'm at this place where if I want to just focus, the second I put on jazz music, something just happens to my brain where it just becomes so much easier to focus because my body is now in the habit of, oh, jazz music means focus time. Jazz music means let's get to work. Let's get into deep work. So I find it like I can instantly get into flow state. I can instantly, start to focus on a task if I play that music. And to read the Bible, read a business development book. Again, depending on what I'm working on. Right now, I'm reading this book on building my software company. The trigger to have that be the natural next step, the natural flow was, again, sitting in this location, playing jazz music, because the jazz music and the location, my body is just naturally used to like, oh, we're sitting here, we're listening to jazz music, we're reading the Bible. The next thing we do is we open up Kindle on our phone and we start to read the ebook that we're working on. And as I'm reading the personal development book, when I get towards the end, when I'm like 15 to 20 minutes away from being done from reading, I would start to drink my energy drink. And it's not something that I timed. It all became just natural. I just had it there while I was reading, and I would start to drink my energy drink, start to drink my pre-workout and all that. And that would be the trigger to get up and go to the gym. I would obviously start getting more energy, getting more antsy, just ready and feeling capable of just walking out and going to the gym or going for a run, depending on which day of the week it was. And at first I had to consciously do everything after the next. Of course, But after 2-3 weeks of doing it consistently, it became habit. It became easy. It became just a natural thing. If I was distracted, I would just open the next book. I would just move on to the next task. As soon as I came down the stairs, as soon as I woke up, first thing I'd want to do is put on the worship. As soon as I came down the stairs, first thing I'd want to do is play the jazz and make the drink. It all became natural. And these are things that were so hard for me to do in the past. And just stacking those habits together, it's like every time I do this habit, I immediately stack it with the next habit afterwards. It made it all easy to get done. My morning routine didn't become this struggle. It didn't become this thing that I would have to fight to do. It just became habit. Try it out if that's not something you've ever done before. Again, I got it from the book Atomic Habits. And there's lots of other strategies and things in that book that could really, really help if you're someone that's struggling with, building better habits or getting rid and breaking other habits. I suggest you pick one up, read it. It's a great book. But try that out. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like as well. Subscribe if you like this kind of content. I'll see you guys in the next video.